Hi, my name is Jared Cohen, mental and fitness performance coach, and I'm going to talk to you about my perspective on how I approach mental performance coaching, aka performance psychology. So we're all on the same page. Let's define performance psychology. Study and application of the psychological principles of human performance in order to help people consistently perform in the upper ranges of their capabilities and more thoroughly enjoy the process. Two key points about this definition: consistently and enjoying the process. What gets in the way of consistently performing at our best? Pressure. And why do we not often enjoy the process of performance? Because we don't necessarily have the tools, the ability for behavioral modification in order to overcome that pressure and manage it accordingly. When we then get into the application of performance psychology, mental performance coaching, mental skills work, now we have a sense of what is this actually all for? What are we trying to accomplish? Talking more into an applied manner, I'm going to give you two ways of thinking about where a variety of skills can be used. Oftentimes in performance psychology, the conversation is a little too piecemeal. Goal setting, confidence, motivation. Where does this fit in the grander picture of how we can be better at thriving under pressure as opposed to just surviving it? First framework is thinking about self-awareness, self-regulation, and then self-reflection. Now let's understand specifically what each of these are getting at. When we understand them in isolation, we're then better at understanding the skills as they thread with one another. So self-awareness is about becoming familiar and really deeply understanding your natural tendencies of behavior. In this case, particularly as it relates to pressure, how you are triggered by and experience pressure. So self-regulation is the skill set of becoming more contextually adaptable. So we're starting to become more aware of what is the context of the performance scenario and what is your intended outcome based on that context, and therefore under pressure, how do you have to adapt and manage your behaviors accordingly, especially if the behaviors are less natural for you, in order to transcend that pressure and still perform at your highest. And then lastly, self-reflection, and this is that skill and whole category of how do you make meaning out of what has just occurred to then be in more of a growth space the next time you cycle through. And in real time, we can experience these literally back to back. So I'm aware of sensations, I'm aware of what is going on around me, I'm taking quick inventory of it, I'm then able to manage that stimulus accordingly before a response occurs, and then based on that response, I can kind of take a quick inventory of what occurred, reflecting on it, evaluating it in real time to then continue to adjust. Now, lastly, we can put this all together in a nice formula here. Situation times behavior equals result. And this helps us to then just map every encounter, every performance scenario, personal and professional, within this formula. So we're aware of the situation, i.e. the context, and specifically what is the intended result based on that context, and how is my behavior going to best be in support of that result that I want. So a lot of the work that I do involves personality and behavioral assessments. We learn more about our natural tendencies of behavior, particularly as it relates to pressure. That we then understand, we start figuring out based on the context, what is the best behavior that is still authentic to you and tied to your core personal project, what you're hoping to get out of this. With that awareness and the understanding of context, we then can make those adjustments. And then, of course, always on the back end, we are reflecting or evaluating to then consider, were those behaviors most in support of that outcome? So there is big picture overview, mental performance coaching, in a nutshell, the work of performance psychology, and how are we starting to think about the skills that we're training for mindset in bigger categorical ways that then actually become these ongoing practices, just something, these relatively simple concepts, there's a lot we dive into and continually revisit. The depths of awareness, the depths of adaptability, and the depths of how we're making meaning on our experiences. So if you want to learn more about my mental performance coaching, you can find me at cpbgrowth.com. I look forward to learning about you, your team, your organization, and being of support in helping you to thrive under pressure.